Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, President Donald Trump rolls out historic tariffs after declaring the country's economic status as a national emergency. See how these tariffs are already impacting Americans. And Buena Vista's wastewater treatment facility still operates using technology nearly 4 decades old. Hear how city officials look to fund new upgrades.
In total, we'd only have about $6 million in debt on this $24 million project.
And it seems Mother Nature still can't make up her mind this spring season, with weekly highs in the 80s and lows in the 20s. Our Paige Jackson will keep you updated on what this week's weather has in store. Then, it was an electric week for spring sports all across the Rockbridge area. From huge upsets to new program records, we'll have the scores of your favorite local colleges. Later in the newscast, learn why Rockbridge area residents are hosting weekly rallies in front of the old Lexington Courthouse. All of that and more coming up right now on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Devin Bateman.
And I'm Katie Eubanks. Thanks for joining us.
The U.S. stock market plummeted today following worldwide shock on President Trump's newest set of tariffs. The Dow Jones Industrial fell nearly 1,700 points today. The S&P 500 dropped 4.7%, and the Nasdaq tumbled 5.8%. CNN's Amy Kiley reports on how these tariffs could affect average Americans.
President Donald Trump is imposing a 10% tariff on imports from all countries, plus higher rates for Cambodia, Vietnam, China, the European Union, and more. Here are 5 ways experts say Americans might feel the impact. 1, higher prices.
It's thousands of dollars. We're talking at least 2% of the median household income that this will cost American households.
Most economists predict U.S. businesses that pay the tariffs will pass on some or all of the costs to consumers. The Trump administration downplays that.
The businesses don't have to pass them on, or the producers in the other countries can eat the tariffs.
2, an economic slowdown.
What you're seeing here is a potential haircut to GDP for 2025 of about 3%.
J.P. Morgan predicts a global recession if Trump maintains his tariffs. Economists say a 1930 trade war deepened the Great Depression.
We know what happened in 1929, 1930 in the crash.
Trump supporters note other countries don't have to retaliate.
They're going to bring their tariffs down because they need the U.S. to be active trading partners.
3, blows to retirement funds if the stock market doesn't fully rebound. 4, high interest rates if the Federal Reserve sees too much inflation. And 5, growth for some domestic manufacturers. Economists say they're the biggest winners under Trump's tariffs.
We have to save the people and the industries of the United States.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The United States Senate passed a resolution yesterday evening in a 51-48 vote that prevents President Donald Trump's ability to impose tariffs on Canada. This came just hours after Trump unveiled his sweeping plans to clamp down on international trade. The president justified the tariffs by arguing Canadian officials have not done their part to stop illegal drugs from entering the northern border. Senator Tim Kaine, who initiated the resolution, disagreed with Trump's rationale.
Canadian tariffs are not the answer to the solution because the fentanyl problem is not primarily a Canadian problem. But this is not about fentanyl, it's about tariffs. It's about a national sales tax on American families.
The Senate's legislation likely won't pass the Republican-controlled House nor be signed by the president himself. But it showed the limits of the Republican support for Trump's vision of remaking the U.S. economy by restricting free trade.
Young farmers in Rockbridge County face steep challenges. High costs and a changing market make it hard to start a farm. Less than 10% of local farmers in the county are under the age of 35. Many struggle to afford land, equipment, and loans. Local 4-H programs offer support, but agriculture in the region is shrinking. To learn more, read Carmen Bunker's story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. Buena Vista City's leaders are seeking grants to upgrade the city's aging wastewater treatment plant, which relies on decades-old technology. Officials say federal and state grants could lessen the expected water fee increase for residents, if they get the grants. The Rockbridge Report's John Little has the story.
Buena Vista's city leaders are seeking grants to upgrade the city's aging wastewater treatment plant, which relies on outdated technology from 1986. Officials say federal and state grants could lessen an expected water fee increase for residents.
If no work gets done, ultimately we'll see failures in our process. And then through that, we will be discharging dirty water into the Maury River.
Right now, the plant is making small fixes. Using federal money, the city's installed a new roof and doors for one of its buildings and a methane gas detector to keep employees safe. The city is planning valve replacements in the coming weeks using its existing budget.
The valve got to where it's just locked up and froze, and we're scared it's going to break off, and when it does, it's going to break open, and it's continuously run sludge out.
But the city wants to completely overhaul the plant, adding upgrades that would provide more filtration while repairing existing pipes and clarifiers. City officials say the current system doesn't filter out nitrogen and phosphorus, violating environmental code. The city pays environmental credits to offset the damage, but upgrades would bring the plant into compliance.
We want to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and we want to make sure that we get things in order the way they need to be.
Tyree says the city is seeking $12 million from Virginia's Water Improvement Fund and $12 million from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Federal money will be split between a loan and a grant.
In total, we'd only have about $6 million in debt on this $24 million project.
Tyree says residents' water fees may increase by around $1 a month. City Council member Stanley Coffey, a former plant employee of 16 years, says upgrading the plant is a top priority.
We had a great plant. We worked hard there at the plant. But it's hard on those people that's working there now, because they're struggling to make the plant run right.
Tyree says he hopes the upgrades will make the budget for the next fiscal year. He says he'll go to Washington this month to make his case to Virginia congressmen. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm John Little.
Some local residents were upset when CARE Rockbridge's annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day was canceled last January, but it looks like CARE heard the community's concerns. The Rockbridge Report's Erica Kenny is live at Richardson Park and has more on the makeup event scheduled for tomorrow. Erica, can you tell us more?
After a month and a half of planning, CARE Rockbridge is hosting an event to celebrate the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. The Love Lives On event comes after CARE's annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day parade was canceled in January due to expected icy conditions. Organizers say Love Lives On will be another chance to celebrate the MLK Day legacy of love and empathy for all. The event will be here at Richardson's Park at 4:30 tomorrow, and will have musical guests as well as a chance for community members to speak. Reporting live for the Rockbridge Report, I am Erica Kenny. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Erica. A federal judge dismissed a lawsuit Monday filed by a group of Virginia Military Institute alumni. More than 24 people claimed the school's alumni association violated their First and 14th Amendment rights. The lawsuit, filed in June of 2024, alleged that VMI officials overstepped when restructuring its alumni fundraising organization without group approval. The suit also claimed that the school retaliated against alumni for pushing leadership reform. Judge Norman Moon dismissed the case with prejudice, meaning it cannot be brought back to court.
Buena Vista schools are now looking for teachers to fill their positions at their schools. The need comes as the board is in the process of hiring a new superintendent. Read Emmy Abison's story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, Virginia lawmakers rejected over 80% of Governor Glenn Youngkin's proposed budget revisions. We'll learn more about yesterday's session in Richmond.
And whether you're in the market for a new succulent or a thrilling novel, Buena Vista's new bookstore has you covered. Hear more from the owners of Magnolia Avenue's newest storefront.
Opening up a shop of what you're passionate about in your downtown district, that is the heart and breath, like the beating heart of a small downtown, because it's about the community.
And later, see why Rockbridge area residents are gathering in front of Lexington's old courthouse for what they call community love rallies. All of that and more when we come back.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report.
Virginia lawmakers rejected many of Governor Youngkin's budget amendments in yesterday's single-day session, overriding 172 of his 205 proposed revisions. This comes after the governor vetoed 158 bills nearly identical to the Democrats' unsuccessful proposals last year. The Democratic-led General Assembly dismissed efforts to cut funding for public schools and first-time homebuyer programs. Youngkin now has 30 days to review and take final action on the remaining bills and amendments.
Since mid-February, some Rockbridge area residents have been taking to the streets to spread positivity in front of Lexington's old courthouse. As the Rockbridge Report's Jordan Hoover tells us, members of the community who call themselves Hearts for Democracy have organized these gatherings in response to some of Trump's administration's policies.
I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine. Organizer Elise Sheffield started these rallies out of political distress. She says turmoil stems from love and that she wants to create a positive space for people to stand up for their beliefs. She says the rallies are bipartisan and that anyone can join.
If we're not standing up for what we love right now, when are we going to do it?
With several of her friends, she created Hearts for Democracy to organize these rallies. After their first rally drew nearly 200 people, they decided to hold rallies for the next 10 Fridays. Sheffield says rallies are about sharing what you care about, while protests are more about fighting for a cause. Rally host Leah Naomi Green says the community response has been positive. Each week, nearly 100 people have shown up to sing and hold signs. Susan Bedell has been to all the rally dates so far.
This is a rally about things we love, and today is we love our neighbors of Canadians as well as our LGBTQ community.
Beth Hart, a retired teacher, has attended most of the rally dates in support of education.
I'm concerned about especially kids in special education, which I did for 40 years.
Katie McNeil says these rallies are soft entries into what she will have to protest later.
So this is not in your face, but it's saying what we love, which is great, and a little later we're going to have to say what we hate.
Tomorrow, community members will meet again at 4 in the afternoon. The Rockbridge Area Republican Committee didn't immediately comment when contacted by the Rockbridge Report. Meanwhile, the Rockbridge Democratic Committee Chair says these rallies are a great opportunity for people to say what they're for, not against. For the Rockbridge Report, I am Jordan Hoover.
The Hearts for Democracy group plans to continue the peace rallies until May 2nd.
Homelessness is a pressing issue in the Rockbridge community, and local organizations are banding together to do something about it. The Rockbridge Area Relief Association, Habitat for Humanity, and other groups have formed a coalition to tackle solutions to homelessness in this area. Read Erica Kenny's full story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Former two-term Lexington mayor and First Lady of Washington Lee University, Mimi Elrod, passed away last Tuesday at the age of 81. Elrod started working at the university in 1986 in the Office of Admissions and later became the Associate Director of Special Programs. She made history in 2008 as the first female mayor of Lexington, a position she held for 8 years. Elrod also gave back to the community by serving on and chairing several nonprofit boards, including the Rockbridge Mental Health Association, Rockbridge Area Community Services, and Project Horizon. A funeral service will be held at 11 a.m. on June 7th at Lexington Presbyterian Church.
Leaf and Lore, a new bookstore and plant studio, is planting its roots in Buena Vista. As the Rockbridge Report's Emily Scaff reports, owners hope the store will help revitalize downtown Buena Vista.
Buena Vista residents are getting their own local bookstore. Leaf and Lore, now the only bookstore in BV, opened on Magnolia Avenue at the beginning of March.
Opening up a shop of what you're passionate about in your downtown district, that is the heart and breath, like the beating heart of a small downtown.
Leaf and Lore operates under a cooperative business model, with 6 owners managing the bookstore. The owners say making the shop a joint partnership made opening the business more affordable.
We get to share the load and share the burden and share the risk, but then also we get the best of everyone.
Co-owners Jen Carpenter and Brooke Dalton are members of Main Street Buena Vista. They want their store to serve as an example for other aspiring local business owners.
When it's a group of people coming together, all that responsibility is not on one person as, a single owner, and how we can do it in a way that is also, not breaking the bank for anyone.
Buena Vista resident Henry Hurt says he's excited to see the new business come to his town.
We have the library, but that always doesn't have the selection we want. But the bookstore, not only does it have books, it's got plants.
Leaf and Lore will be officially open on April 19th. You can keep up with the book and plant store on Instagram and Facebook. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Emily Scaff.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, it was one heck of a week for spring sports here in Lexington, from double-digit baseball victories to new lacrosse program records. Our Shea Bowman has more on your local college's latest wins.
And you've heard of dogs chasing down the mailman, but turkeys? See how one carrier dodged a raptor while running his daily route.
Good evening, I'm Paige Jackson. There's some wild weather rolling in this weekend. Find out what to expect in my forecast next on the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Now that it's finally getting warm and pretty, I'm definitely going to be spending a lot more time outside.
Me too, Katie. Paige, is it going to be a good weekend for us?
I can't say this weekend's going to be the best, and I advise keeping a keen eye on the weather if you go outside. Checking out our live shot in downtown Lexington in Richardson Park, we can see that it's pretty cloudy here in Lexington. On to the current conditions, the high for today was 77, which isn't too bad, with a low of 65. The barometric pressure was 30.11 with a wind speed of 12 miles per hour. We're starting to get some of that spring humidity with 63% today. Looking at our radar, we had some low cloud coverage coming in from the southwest, heading north. Onto our regional conditions. Over in the west, it was 69 today and cloudy in Covington, always a little bit colder over there. Down in Roanoke, it is currently 76 and cloudy, and we've got a lot of clouds right now. Here in Lexington, it's 75, the same in Buena Vista. In Lynchburg, it is 76. In Stanton, it is 76 but sunny, and in Charlottesville, it is 73 and sunny. Now looking at our 5-day forecast. Tomorrow, we will be getting some thunderstorms all day, so be pretty careful if you're going outside, with a high of 86 and a low of 60. On Saturday, it will be cloudy. There's a small chance of rain, but it should be okay, with a high of 83 and a low of 65. Sunday, it'll be raining all day long with a high of 76 and a low of 52. And then going into next week, we have some shockingly colder temperatures for the second week of April. On Monday, it'll be partly cloudy and 63 with a low of 37. And on Tuesday, it will be sunny, but a shocking low of 28 and a high of 51. Back to you, Devin and Katie.
Thanks, Paige. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, see how one mailman found himself in a foul situation when a group of territorial turkeys wanted to stop his delivery.
Kane here with Rockbridge Report Sports. The Generals baseball team just defeated the top team in the ODAC conference with 6 shutout innings and a nail-biting finish. I'll be talking to the team's star players when we get back.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Katie, the MLB just kicked off opening day last week, and I'm excited for the baseball season.
Oh, me too, Devin. And in light of all that baseball, we've also had a lot of exciting local victories. Shay, can you give us those updates?
Yes, Katie. Washington and Lee's and VMI's baseball teams tallied some big wins this past week, and they're looking to continue their success this weekend. It was an electric week for Washington and Lee baseball, as the team finally brought their record back above 500. After an electric 6-run inning in the bottom of the 7th, the Generals were able to squeak a 10-9 victory past the SVU Knights on Tuesday. But that wasn't the biggest win for WNL baseball this week. Captain Dick Smithfield erupted yesterday evening after the Generals knocked down Shenandoah University from the top of the podium in conference standings. The Rockbridge Report's Mackenzie Kane caught up with the team's stars after the game.
Good evening, Rockbridge. I'm here at Washington and Lee's Captain Dick Smithfield, where the Generals baseball team just took down the #1 team in the ODAC, Shenandoah University. And joining me here on field is sophomore pitcher Nathan DeWitt. Now, Nate, this marked a new career high for you, most innings pitched. Just talk me through the mentality on the mound.
Yeah, you know, had a great catcher on the plate, and Campbell had a great defense behind me. Just went out there, threw strikes the best I could.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Campbell. You shut out the first 6 innings, but when that first run did eventually cross home, he came up to you on the mound. What did he tell you?
You know, he told me just stay calm. You've been here before and throw strikes. Keep doing what you're doing, like, gives a chance to win, and I tried to do that.
And also joining me here on field is senior catcher Campbell Charnecko. Now, Campbell, a lot of emotions this game, and when pressure ran high, you were the one up on the mound with both Nathan DeWitt and Brody, just talking them through the process. What were you telling them?
Yeah, I was just telling them I need the most confident pitches you've thrown all day. Those guys have great stuff, and I just want to remind them that they're great pitchers and trust their stuff. I've seen their hitters a few times to that point, so I know what they're going to do. So just giving them the words of encouragement out there.
I mean, I've got to ask, how's it feel taking down the #1 team in the conference?
I mean, it feels great. We know we can compete with anyone when we play our best. We just got to go out with the confidence to do so, and we'll keep having games like this. Yeah.
Now, this is the first of a 7-game stretch of all conference matchups. What's the mentality moving forward in the schedule?
Hey, just keep doing what we're doing. Jennies are getting hot, and keep breaking out the interview glasses. Yep.
Well, I appreciate your time, Kimball. Best of luck moving forward this week. And signing off with the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mackenzie Kane.
But the Generals weren't the only ones dominating the diamond this week. With a grand slam in the first inning from senior James Newsom, the VMI baseball team trumped the Longwood University Lancers on Tuesday, 17-6. And believe it or not, that wasn't even the Keydets' biggest victory margin this week. Yesterday afternoon, VMI baseball downed the Norfolk State Spartans on the road in a decisive 26-6 victory. The Keydets are back home at Gray Minor Stadium tomorrow afternoon to take on Mercer University in the first matchup of a 3-game series. And if you thought that was a dominant win, then you should have seen the Generals lacrosse team on the road this week. The 9th-ranked WNL women's lacrosse team pounced the Virginia Wesleyan Marlins 21-1 Tuesday night. And last night in Lynchburg, the 9th-ranked WNL men's lacrosse team annihilated Randolph College 31-0, setting a new program record for the largest win margin. That's right, in the past 48 hours, the Generals lacrosse teams tallied 52 collective goals and only gave up 1. What a week to be a college sports fan right here in the Rockbridge area. That's all for sports. Back to you, Devin.
Thanks, Shay. One mail carrier in Massachusetts will never look at turkeys the same way again. He was just doing his job when a flock of bold birds came after him. Chris Rogers shows us the confrontation.
This was not the turkey trot that one mail delivery man pictured when he signed up for the job a year ago. Ring video catching the entire confrontation.
I've come close with dogs. I do a lot of stuff on Nantucket, so I see deer all the time. But this is my first time with turkeys.
A trio of turkeys accosted Wayne White on his postal route Friday afternoon in Hyannis. From the moment he steps out of his delivery truck, White could be heard yelling at the birds to get away.
Go away!
But neither snow nor rain, or apparently turkeys, would stop this mailman from making his delivery. He made his way to this house using the package he was carrying for defense.
Once I got out, they came after me. You saw, me defend with the boxes and whatnot. And then when I got to the step, it's like, okay, here we are. We got to get back, make a run for it.
And this fearless flock still isn't backing down. They chased me in the very same neighborhood. Not happy with my reporting.
All right, take it easy.
Wayne says the turkeys wouldn't give up, following him as he made several stops.
Every time I moved the truck, turkeys followed.
But he made it back to his truck and now has quite the story to tell.
All day long it's been gobble gobble texts and turkey texts, and I can't imagine what Thanksgiving is going to be like this year.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.
For more local and national news, check out our website at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu and join us next Thursday for another half-hour edition of the Rockbridge Report.